We're live. Look at that. Okay.
It tells us we're live.
Welcome to Ben and Skin After Dark. I'm Ben Rogers. That's Jeff Skin Wade. That's Kevin KT Turner. And that is Travis Mother Effin Frederick.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Travis.
Thanks, guys, for inviting me to hang out tonight. I'm really glad we chose to do this.
Yeah. This is going to be a lot of fun. Now,
You look like an MMA fighter.
I've been preparing for the Roller Town Sumo event.
Yeah.
oh, okay. So I have seen Micah Parsons went to Japan and messed around and with sumo wrestlers. Did you ever see that footage?
I saw that there was footage.
Okay. Did you? Okay. That's an interesting answer.
That's how I take in the internet, too. I'm aware that footage exists, but I'm good.
Well, I'm not going to watch that. It probably was like a 5-minute video. Who's got time to watch that?
Why
Right.
wouldn't you watch that?
Because it was like 5 minutes long.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know.
you'll be at a sumo wrestling tournament at Rollertown this weekend.
Yes.
Will you get into the sumo ring with the world champion of America?
Absolutely not. That sounds terrible. Like those people have trained for years and years. I shouldn't say those people. The respected ones that are competing have trained for years and years at their craft. I've never done anything like that. I've seen that Micah Parsons has done it, but I don't know anything about it other than that.
How many people did you graduate high school with?
That's a good question. There were
About?
120-ish people.
How was
in
the
my
wrestling
class.
team?
It was better when I was on it. I'm not
Okay,
just
that's
kidding.
what
I was actually. It's not true. I was on it for only 2 years. It's a sad story about being too large, and I wrestled my freshman year, and I wrestled, I don't know, like 265 maybe, and the weight limit was 275. And so going to my sophomore year, there was no way I was going to make it at 275. But lucky for me, they raised the weight limit to 285 in Wisconsin that year. So I wrestled my sophomore year at 285, and then I dedicated my life to being a fat offensive lineman and really let myself go so I could get to 300 pounds my junior year. So I was only able to wrestle 2 years. But the wrestling program was, up and coming. I would not say it was good. We couldn't really fill all of the spots on the team. But we tried really hard, and we had a lot of fun together, I think.
When you said up and coming, so you're saying that was the early stages of what would later be a surge with the wrestling program?
The wrestling program was getting better.
Okay, yeah.
And it then slumped a little bit, but it's back now. It's back, and they're doing a great job now. I don't think they've won conference yet as a team, but they're doing a great job.
We're going to get up there this season, catch some matches.
Dude, we need
I
to.
really hope so. You guys coming up for the draft this weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay, so let's get right into that because you, Travis Frederick, are going to be the person that represents the Cowboys when you walk up to the podium with the second and third round picks this year. Now, you did this before, you tell us, but I don't remember this. Are you saying you drafted Michael Gallup?
I didn't draft him. I announced the Michael Gallup pick. And commemoratively, over here in my office, I have a picture. I can prove it to you of me on stage. My kids look at it and they say, "Dad, were you famous?" And I said, "No, I wasn't." And they said, "But Dad, you're on a stage. That must have been awesome." So yes, it does exist. I got a copy of the draft card itself that I read off of. It was really nice.
KT, what do you think that of Travis wanting to distance from the Michael Gallup pick that year? That's basically all I heard out of that story.
You shouldn't. It was a great
I
pick.
loved Michael Gallup. MG was great.
Yeah.
Still is. He's back, I heard.
He's
Yeah.
back. He signed with the Commandos.
Love that.
And
He's in the division to get his revenge.
right. But if you're when the Cowboys ask you to do that, that's a huge show of respect. You know, I think of the few former players who have done that. It's always a big deal. Drew Pearson did a big thing and made it extra fun. Are you going to, now that you're settled in, you've already done it, when you go in to take the Cowboys' second pick, are you going to hype up the crowd or do anything crazy?
Well, I think what's actually happened here is the Cowboys were looking to save some money, so they picked somebody that lived near to Green Bay because they offered to buy my flights, knowing well that I couldn't fly to Green Bay. I have to drive up there, and they didn't even offer mileage. So I'm pretty sure that this was a cost-effective pick. So yeah, I do get to do it. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what the right answer is as far as hyping people up. If the Cowboys end up trading, I don't even know what pick they have, but if they traded at 33 and I was the first pick that day, no way. I'm
Yeah.
very timid, very professional, and then we'll see what happens. So maybe professional in round 2 and less professional in round 3. Who knows?
It's a read the room type of situation because
Absolutely.
the draft after day 1, day 2 and 3, the draft is just full of bits, and a lot of people like Drew Pearson and a lot of people with other teams, they have a big long thing, and you're just going, can we just get on with it every time? So just kind of
I
read
don't
the
like
room.
to talk about people's long things, Kevin.
Well, their pick 44, and no innuendo tonight. Let's keep it clean,
Oh,
Travis.
gotcha.
Their pick 44. So from pick 39 to 43, if there's no bits, I think you're fair game to work on your stand up or something.
Okay. I'll work on that. Maybe you can coach me up between now and then. That's not something I've had a lot of practice with.
I'll get you a script.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I want to get back to the original point because you tend to know these things. How many cents a mile are we getting these days for tax write-off purposes?
Great question. I believe it's 74.
Okay, that's
Okay. I want to go back. I want to get away from that line of questioning and move back into the draft talk. And will you be in the draft room with everybody?
No,
I will
he's gonna
be in
be-
a room at the draft
Okay.
with other people, but not the Cowboys draft.
Right,
room or anything
they're-
like that. No, I'm going to be in Green Bay.
Okay.
And I assume that there'll be a room in the back behind the stage where all of the people that are announcing the picks will be.
Okay,
So
right.
I'll be in that draft room.
That's what I mean.
That wasn't a good question, Ben. You've made him mad.
I'd like to
You want me to talk about it, Ben?
I'd like to redo the question.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Strike that question. What I meant was when you're in the quote unquote green room getting ready to find, like, who is the person who's going to let you know, here's who we're taking? And do you have to write it down real carefully while no one else is watching and while you're enjoying hors d'oeuvres?
No, I am. If I have some stain, like mustard stain on my shirt, you'll know that I've been just munching on bratwurst in the back there. But no, you sit back there, and then they tell you that your pick is up. There is a person, I believe her name is Tracy Perlman, that was operating in part of that, and Troy Vincent was back there last time, and they have this whole big table that has all of the cards laid out that have a blank. And there's 2 blanks, actually. One says the number of the pick, and the other one, and it says, with the blank pick in the 2025 draft, the Dallas Cowboys select blank, and then their school. And so they give you this, they tell you exactly what to say. Suggestion, perhaps, or we'll see.
Wait, so Steven doesn't get in your ear with an earpiece and tell you what to go up there and say?
No,
Daddy said we're
unfortunately, I don't
going to
get-
take another guy from Wisconsin, Travis. Get on up there.
I don't get to talk to the Jones family, unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, I might, but not in that particular moment.
Okay.
You really don't want to get a guy that's got about 12 syllables. You're really looking for a good, safe name, very
Michael
easy.
Gallup was a great one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Gallup's good. RJ Harvey, something very easy. If you get to Donovan Ezaruke, that's when you get yourself in a bind.
I will say they do have a person there that says it in your ear before you go. The
Okay.
person that hands you the card says it out loud to you so you can hear it. But I mean, I'm still liable to just completely butcher it.
Yeah.
You could make some minor edits. You could say the Super Bowl bound Dallas Cowboys select, or the crowd would go, oh, or you could go, my guy Dak and the Cowboys select, or you could spice it up a little bit.
I could do that. That sounds like an idea.
Wait, it doesn't. You need to lean in on that. I feel like Ben's giving you good suggestions here.
Yeah.
Don't be
I
dismissive.
think the thing is, you got to remember, I'm in Packer country. I live here. So I'm going to be up in there. And if I start spouting off about the Cowboys, I don't know
Yeah.
if I can make it out of there.
Your word, you'll get
There's
you'll
not
get your
gonna be a
ass
lot
kicked.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of Wisconsin people. And I don't know if you know a lot about Wisconsin people, but we're big people. We like to eat sausage and drink beer.
You could present this as a rhetorical question and see where it goes. Hey, everybody, what do you think about the way the Aaron Rodgers thing ended up? All right,
That
now it's
would
time
go
for the
well.
pick.
That might actually go really well. I think they're
Yeah.
fine with it.
Have you guys been watching McAfee lately? Don't worry about it.
Who's vaxxed out there?
So if you play it really straightforward, you're doing the Cowboys pick in the second round. If you play it super straightforward, and then you come back out and do it all over the exact same, really straightforward, I feel like you got to spice one of them up.
Yeah, I think you could do that. I think if you gosh, I'm just trying to think. How do you spice this up? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you do it on the third round pick. The second round pick, you play it right down the middle so they don't see it coming. And then on the third round pick, that's where you do something wacky and wild.
Yeah, pick 76. No one's going to see it coming.
Yeah.
You could come out there, throw out a couple of jokes, maybe proclaim that this is the Cowboys' year. Look out, America. America's team is going to take it back. I don't know. There's a lot of options.
What are you going to wear?
Also a great question. I really got to check with my wife about
Tank
that.
top.
They told me I have to be in business professional, which I don't know. I work for a tech company, so that's like, a t-shirt. This is my business professional wear.
Right.
But they told me I should wear a jacket. So I don't know. I might wear a suit. I might wear like a little sport coat or something, unless I spill mustard on it, and then I'll have to take it off.
It would be cool if you wrote 76 on your chest, and then you said with pick number, and then you unbuttoned it and did this routine.
What if I shaved it in my chest hair? I think that might be the play.
If they trade back to 79.
Oh, no.
Okay, and is it unusual for someone to do multiple picks, or is that a money saving thing too? Like we've already got him there.
I think this is a new thing that they're doing. These like former player, like there's always been some, but I think 2 and 3. So the entirety of day 2 is all done by these former players, and there's like a list. Each team has one of them. I would say, gosh, almost half of them are either like went to Wisconsin or live in Wisconsin. So there must be some sort of tie with that along with it, which is probably why they chose me.
Day 3 is incredible because day 3 they'll have like animals from zoos making the picks.
I remember that.
Like day 3 is full of bits. You just want it to end if you're actually working it, but if you're just enjoying it at home, it's very fun. So like you're safe though, dude. The Packers fans don't care about the Cowboys. They're more Lions and Vikings and Bears. Like, dude, you're good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had a tough time coming into the draft because I was like, shoot, if I get drafted by the Packers, and because I live right on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, and it's about 50-50 Bears and Packer fans. So if I get drafted by the Packers and do really well, all the Bears fans are going to give me a hard time. If I get drafted by the Packers and do really poorly, all the Packers fans are going to give me a hard time. And so, opposite with the Bears, by going to the Cowboys, everybody hates the Cowboys. So it was an easy thing to deal with. Everybody was just like, oh, I never watched the Cowboys, but I watch it now because you're playing. And, you can get by with that. But I think it's an equivalent hatred. And there's like the history, the, Ice Bowl and whatnot that, I think there's some.
Des caught it.
Oh, listen, I try not to get into it. Well, I have a varying opinion from a lot of the Packer fans, believe it or not, and so we get into it often.
Which pick were you?
30? Come on, 31. Man. He was.
Come on, 31.
Dude. Talking about he's 31. Come on.
31. Yeah. I got it right. Okay. Did you going into the draft? Did you think you were late first, or like did you have an agent going? I think you're going to go late first, or what did you think was going to happen?
20 to 40 is what I was told.
Okay, so
that's where I had you.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, right.
KT had you as a 5th rounder. He was pissed when they drafted you.
That's right.
I remember we were doing the show and he screamed, "Reach!"
No, because I wasn't even working with you guys. The draft had happened a month before we started at the Fan in 2013. I was not even covering the draft then. I didn't even.
It was just getting started when we did our beard eating in Frisco.
Yeah,
I'd never actually seen a football game at that point. I'm just getting into it.
Okay, so
baseball guy.
Going into that draft, did you feel like a connection with the Cowboys? Did you go on a visit? Did you feel like, okay, they're definitely in the mix? Or how many teams are in the mix? Like, what are you thinking going into that night?
I had 5 or 6 teams that I thought were an option. Detroit picked right before, and Detroit was a pretty solid option. My agent had told me that if the Cowboys trade back at 18, they were trading to get me. So like when they made that call, we had a pretty good idea that was going to happen. Early in the draft process, we thought, or like midway through the draft process, we thought Seattle was a pretty serious option. But they ended up trading their first round pick for Percy Harvin that year, and so that changed that. But my favorite draft story is that we did, you do all of these workouts and all of the stuff that goes into these things, and I had a workout with Bill Callahan, who was the offensive line coach at the time, and he crushed me. I mean, he worked me out for a really long time, like super tough workout, hardest workout I've ever did. And then immediately after, no shower, no water, we go up into the film room and just start hammering the board. And we were like going at it. It was crazy. So after it gets done, I go to my coach or my agent, who played for Bill Callahan a long time ago. And I was like, hey, listen, I will give up being a first round pick if I don't have to go to the Cowboys. Like, I do not want to go play there. I don't want to go do that. And lo and behold, a week later, the Coach Callahan brings me in and down into Dallas and puts me up on the board and has me just like spit out what we had talked about. And his whole goal was that he wanted to wear me down and teach me this stuff, which turns out was basically the entirety of the protection scheme and half the run game. And then he had me just like spit it back out to him in front of the scouts. And I think that was the day that I won Coach Callahan over.
So by that point, had you come around on playing for Callahan?
No, I never wanted to play for him. In fact, I was terrified, flying down there after the draft, and it lived up to it. He was a really, really hard coach, but he was one of the best coaches that I ever had, and he had a tremendous impact on that organization and the team and our success.
I'm trying to remember. He was offensive coordinator for a brief time. Was that after that?
I can't remember if he was calling plays. I think he had just lost his play calling.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a big
right around there.
Yeah. There was a big deal where him and Jason, there was a play calling thing that happened while one of them was on the air with us. I can't remember which.
Okay.
I know one night I was going up there though to Valley Ranch and walking into the building illegally. Coach Callahan is walking out with his box of crap because he had just been fired.
Oh, wow.
Or let go, whatever year that was, probably 2015, I'm guessing. And I remember going, Jesus, I probably shouldn't have seen that. But at Valley Ranch, it didn't matter. You could go walk into any coach's room if you wanted to. I mean, it was kind of crazy. It ain't like that no more. There's Grizzly syndrome.
It is insane that the most, I don't know if you want to say prestigious, certainly the most well-known North American sports franchise for the longest time had no security, and you could just wander into their building and do whatever whenever you wanted to. It really
Mr.
made
West
no
was
sense.
there during the day.
Right? The one guy outside. Okay, so
you just wave as you drive by him.
So
but Jerry, see ya.
But if you don't wave, you're not getting in.
That's correct.
Okay, so
the wrong kind of wave. If it was too aggressive a wave, it has to be one of those
I know where I'm going. Okay, so you come to the Cowboys. Tyron was before you, right?
That's correct.
And then Zach was after you. So what was your first impression of Tyron Smith?
That's a good question. So I had I shared an agent with Tyron, and so we knew of each other as that process went through. And after I got drafted, I had gone down to look for a place to live, and my agent's like, "Hey, Tyron's having a get together. Why don't you go over to his house?" And that was super awkward to meet somebody, just randomly show up at somebody's house while they're having a party with their friends. And I made it for about 10 minutes and then I got out of there.
That was my high school existence.
To be honest with you. Yeah. It was the first party I'd ever been to because I was super straight laced in college. So it was interesting. But then as you get to know him, Tyron's a great guy, and he works super hard, and he was a great example on and off the field. And so, he was a great example, for me, in the building and learning and all of the things. So I appreciated him all the way.
You walked into Tyron's house, you slammed a 12-pack in 3 minutes, and then turned around and walked out. Said, "I'm going to be a number one pick. Let's go."
Well, this was after I had gotten picked.
Oh.
Yes, but the rest of that is true.
At that point is, if I remember correctly, don't you guys kind of take your orders from Doug free at that point?
I still take my orders from Doug. He lives about 20 minutes from me here. So I see him every once in a while, and he's always giving me a hard time.
You guys,
he
Yes,
was
Doug was the granddad of the group.
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
the one
yeah.
that was.
do you guys have like a neighborhood blocking sled? Just hop out there and get some reps on it.
No, we don't. Doug's a big farmer now, so he's got his cattle farm going out there, and so whenever I
Okay.
need some work, he's always got some out there for me.
Okay, so then Zach comes after you. Obviously, you
Correct.
guys had other talented guys, but the three of you in particular, truly thought of as elite. And so the three of you and a couple other guys, you got a dominant offensive line. But with Zach, the first time he was at the facilities after he was drafted, he had his keys in his pocket or something the pleat was off.
The pleats. It was the pleats.
The pleats were off in a way that made it seem like it was a J.R. Smith situation, that it was, and he had a wiffle ball bat with him.
Well, I tell you what, he was shaking Rod Marinelli's hand, and Zach might be the biggest fan of Rod Marinelli that I know. And that's saying a lot because I know a lot of like big fans of Rod. So he was a guy that Zach really looked up to. So I think he was very excited to meet him.
He brought the rod to the Marinelli situation.
I think that there was just a lot of excitement.
Okay, so he became one of your best friends, maybe your best friend of your whole life, but one of your best friends. You guys obviously had one of many adventures on the football field together. You guys warmed up before games. You're in Pro Bowls together. You become fast friends, but was it like that from the jump?
It was. I don't know why, but I got the sense that he was a guy that I would, be sort of kindred spirits with, and I reached out to him really early and just like, hey, I got an extra car if you're down for the weekend looking for a house or whatever, and just trying to help him out and make him feel comfortable. But we're both Midwestern guys. We both went to, there's an argument that Notre Dame is a real Big Ten type school, even though they won't ever join the Big Ten. And so we're similar people, and so it went just kind of happened fast, and it was great. It was a lot of fun playing with him.
Did your lady friends get along from the jump?
They did. They got along all the way through. I mean, they still do. And Zach is moving up here closer to me. It's a pretty close. I don't know, not too far of a drive, about 4 hours. So. We're already talking about how, Kevin, I see that look in your face, but like, what it's like up here. 4 hours is not that far. That's just what you do. Like, you just drive.
It's like going to San Antonio,
we're
man.
excited to be a little bit closer and get to hang out, and the kids get along really well too, which is awesome.
You guys can meet in the middle too, hotel. Hey,
Wait, there's no way that whatever's in the middle is anything other than rural farmland. I don't think you guys are going to meet in the middle.
It's Chicago.
Oh.
Can I get to a question from the comments real quick? John Lindstrom wants to know if Travis has a mini fridge underneath his desk there.
I don't have a mini fridge, but I came prepared.
Hey,
This guy knows how to party.
Well,
Let's go.
I just didn't know what tonight was going to bring. So
Neither do we.
The rule is always to be prepared. So here I am, prepared.
Okay, so obviously both those guys retired recently. You look like you could still play. I think you still have a couple seasons in you. I still may keep
Thank
working.
you.
Working. How old are you now?
34.
See, a lot of offensive linemen can play pretty much into their late 30s. I think you might have one or two more years. I think we should not really resign ourselves to it being over. But as you look back on those teams that you had with that dominant offensive line, should be Hall of Fame quarterback, guy who caught that ball in Green Bay, pretty incredible team.
You're talking about Dak or Tony? Sorry.
when you look back, are you what are your thoughts on those teams you played for? Like, do you look at it as, all right, we were good, but the NFL's hard, or are you like, man, how did we not win it all? Or how do you look at it?
Yeah, I think that I think it's pretty disappointing that we didn't ever get anywhere farther than we did. I thought that we really had some quality teams, and it just never could put itself together. Like, we could never just make it work. The offense was so good those couple of years, and the defense was doing their thing, and it just we just couldn't get on the same page and make it push. That year we talked about it already when we were in Green Bay, and Des. Like there's a lot to be said about the minute and 36 seconds or whatever that would have been left on the clock if that was a touchdown. But that game we felt really good about going in and playing against Seattle the following week. We had just beat them a couple weeks before, and like that was the year. But man, those first few years when we were playing with that group of offensive linemen and the running backs that we had, like it was crazy. And honestly, as we went and continued that on, we just were able to do things that you didn't normally see. We just had a great deal of confidence in our ability to move through that. And the fact that we couldn't do it was pretty disappointing. But looking back, the NFL is hard, and a lot of it comes down to like one moment, and maybe it's a little bit of luck here and there to make it work. And it's about being prepared for that one spot that it happens, and then going with it. And so, we just were never able to make it work. And it's sad, but I'm not like heartbroken over it. It doesn't haunt me that I never got a Super Bowl ring or anything like that. It was a lot of fun while I was at it.
It's so easy to be a judgmental ass when you're sitting in your rocking chair drinking beer, watching a game, like yelling at a television set, which, those of us that aren't like you tend to do. So I'm really asking a serious sports question here. Do we, on the outside, make too much of quote unquote clock management? Because like I think about the Dak's rookie year, I guess that's the 2016 team maybe. And there's a series of events that happens at the end of the game that I'm sitting here going, we're mismanaging the clock. But I'm not playing in the game, right? And you can't take anything for granted. So when there's a couple minutes to go, are any of y'all at all thinking about quote unquote managing a clock? Do you guys feel like that's something that's over discussed, or is that an accurate part of analysis of these things?
I think it's a very accurate piece of the analysis. Now the question is who's responsible for it, and have you practiced those situations and all of those things. And I would tell you that I feel like we practiced all sorts of clock management situations and talked through a lot of things ad nauseum. But there were times where it didn't go the way that you expected it to, and I know there was a lot of criticism around clock management. I will say that there are different schools of thought in different ways. There are some people. If you ask 5 coaches, you're in this situation, what would you do? You're probably going to get 3 to 4 different answers out of those 5 coaches.
Right.
Everybody has their own thing, and it also depends on how your team is playing, how the defense is playing, how the offense is playing, like what's your quarterback, how many reps have they taken, how many throws have they had. Like there are so many other things that go into it other than just like it's not a black and white decision.
Right.
And so there has to be some feel there, and that's ultimately the coach's responsibility to make that happen. And then on the flip side, if you don't leave it to the coach and the quarterback is handling it, or whoever, or maybe it's the middle linebacker or whatever, then you have to trust them to handle it. But they already have lots of other things going on, and then you also have to deal with their level of confidence. Do they believe that they can do anything? And so they're just going to go, even though, that's not necessarily the right thing to do. So it's tough. Like that's just one of those things that it's got to be somebody's job, and somebody has to have a very clear set of rules and, in today's game, analytics as to what exactly you should be doing in those situations.
Did you ever think about running for office?
Nope, not at all. That's something that I have no interest in.
I think he was asking me that. KT, I think with my past, it would be questionable. There's a lot of stuff that can be dug up on me.
All right.
So I'm gonna say no. Protect my kids.
I want to go back to, we played this audio the other day, and I mentioned it to you. We played the audio from the last interview you did with us, or one of the interviews right after you retired. We made a song for you, Fart Out in the Wind, like a candle in the wind. And my favorite part of that was how it was in the lyrics, it was always a center identifying who the mic was, which was a big part of being a center, right?
That's right.
He's the mic. But it's never been caught in song like that. And so we play the song.
Never been sung about, period.
It was like, Zach, Tyron, 53's the mic. Zach, Tyron, 53's the mic. It was
okay, that was never said ever in any game or practice.
Zach, Tyron. And so we play the song, and I don't think going into that song our plan was to lay out on you. I think, did you do that, or KT do that?
I feel like that was an organic thing that happened,
Well,
and we were all smiling at each other as it was going down.
We're
I feel
laughing.
like that's happening tonight.
No, we're laughing and we're enjoying it, and it's a special moment. And we've been on this incredible journey together. But you are a unique dude. There was never, like with some athletes that we would interview, you had to be careful because sometimes you could get them in trouble if you asked a question that it set them up for a dangerous answer. With you were always better at answering the questions than we were at asking them. So there was never any fastball we could throw at you that you had a problem with. So we started throwing the fastest fastballs we could at you all the time, just trying to get you to.
It's true.
And so we finished playing that song and we're saying goodbye. And then one of us, I think it was Skin, was like, gives the layout thing, which we've never done to anyone who wasn't really a part of the show. And so that's a high honor. And so as we completely lay out on you and no one's speaking, what are you thinking?
I mean, I thought there was something wrong, like the line had gone dead or something. I'm pretty sure that I was on the phone and I was like in a bad spot. So I thought, okay, well maybe I lost him or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was I was pretty sad. And then in fact, at the end of it, I was really discouraged when I found out that you were playing a joke on me, because I had just retired. I was in an emotional state. And some people that I used to think were friends of mine, pranked me in front of all their viewers and listeners.
I am sitting here thinking about this, as Ben was talking about. There were certain guys that you felt like, and I know this is probably wrong. I never considered us journalists. We were talk show hosts, but there are certain guys that you felt like you had to protect, right? Yeah. You and that's, hey man, they're adult, let them do their thing, but whatever. Never felt like we had to protect you. I always felt like you were smarter than us. And also, I kind of take this for granted, and I'm thinking about it now. I mean, in very short order, you kind of felt like you were one of us. And honestly, we were probably way too comfortable around you. But I mean, it's meant in a good way. Like you immediately felt, to me at least, I'm sure KT and Ben can speak for themselves, but it just felt like you got it immediately and were kind of a part of us. And when we played that audio the other day, I was listening to it going, there's no way in hell we would have done this with anybody else.
Anyone.
There's no way. But I felt so comfortable around you. You just felt like a part of the show almost immediately. It sounds like bullshit, but I swear to God, it's a sign of respect. It really is. Like, we do this to one another, and you just felt like one of us. And I hadn't thought about that, but listening to it, I definitely started thinking about that.
Yeah, looking back, it definitely feels more like an honor than it did at the time, frankly. But but I'll tell you, I felt the same. We got to know each other pretty well. I probably was pretty predatory for you guys to attach yourselves to me when I was that young. But I get it. You can't get the Tony Romos in the world. You got to get the rookie fat lineman who doesn't have any friends to come hang out with you. But either way, once we got together, it felt like it was just easy. And the listeners probably don't know this, but we talk all the time, off air and together, and we spend time together, and I really enjoy doing that. Like I try to make time whenever I'm in Dallas to come see you guys. It doesn't always happen, but I do my best. And it's fun. So
it's crazy to me for you to be so young and to have such perspective. I mean, you're definitely an old soul. But there was, and you look back at the whole adventure, there was one time that you got mad at us.
Uh-oh.
Which time was this?
Well,
let me think. Hold on, let me think.
He's now retraced. He's going to end the interview when he thinks of all the reasons he should be mad at us.
No, right?
Oh no, there's multiple.
I can't remember. I'm not been there.
So when we're in Oxnard, the guy, the radio shows broadcast from these tennis courts, and it's really rare for
I do remember now.
the players to come over. The players come over to that area by the tennis courts reluctantly because they don't want to do interviews. And so usually it's a PR person leading them over, but you're our guy and you're our friend. And so you would actually come walk over and talk to us. And in this media war that we all live in, it's such a hard business. That's a big thing, man. That always meant the world to us that you would actually come over and speak to us, man. I don't know, man. It meant a lot to us. And so you're over there talking to us, by the chain link fence. And right behind you, we see people scurrying about, like running over to these apartment complexes that you'd just come from. And we said, what? I said, what is that? And you go, oh, I think those are plumbers going to my room. And then you turned around and you go, guys, don't mention this. And we looked up and there was like 6 plumbers in a dead sprint, like coming down from SWAT helicopters.
Do you understand what the term hyperbole is here? Like this is assault.
It was the most. It was the most plumbers I've ever seen, and the biggest
one plumber.
The biggest emergency.
It wasn't even the plumber; it was the front desk guy.
There was 10 guys in hazmat uniforms, and sirens were going off. And Ben's right. There was a couple of helicopters coming in, and guys were rappelling down or whatever that term is.
He told us, and then you were smart enough to immediately regret telling us, and you were like, "Oh shit."
Here's what I remember after Travis told us not to mention it. David Moore was about to tweet about it, and I went over here. I stopped his thumbs from putting a tweet out about it.
Thank you, Kevin. I knew you would protect me. I knew it.
And then we hit the air.
David Moore has that kind of humor.
Ben's top story of the day is we hit the air live from Cowboys training camp. It's definitely what the fans sent us there for.
And so
we started the show with that.
So we start the show. We start the show with it, and then I do remember when we went out on the field after practice, we got the cold shoulder just a little bit.
You
The
thought
worst
quickly.
part of all this is the worst part of all of this is that people don't know where you all are on this tennis court. So there are these tennis courts that are out here, and all of the radio stations are lined up. And after practice, the media guys come over, the PR guys come over, and they say, "Oh, will you do this interview? Will you do this interview?" And they also would schedule ones, off time so that people would go. And so you go and you sit at these tables under tents and do these interviews. Well, this crew always got the one at the end because nobody liked them. So they were as far down as you could go. So they were as close to that corner of the tennis courts as you could find. And my room was right on the other corner. So this isn't me coming over to the tennis courts to talk to them. I have no choice but to walk past these guys every single time I go to my room or come from my room. You think if I was walking through there with a pint of ice cream, I wouldn't have gotten to hell? I feel like I was set up for assault the entire time, and maybe that's the reason why I got put there. And now I have to deal with this. It's years later, and I still have to talk about poop on the internet.
Yeah, Ben.
Dude, just embrace it. Look at what it's done for Shaq in the last 48 hours.
It's been good for Shaq, for
Great
sure.
for Shaq.
Okay, I want to. You look great, by the way, and not you, Skin, Travis.
JT.
And there's something that I noticed about your fashion at one point that put wind in my sails personally. And I am typically a button up to the top guy. If I'm wearing like a golf shirt. And when you go down that lonely road and you're one of those guys, you catch a lot of grief for it. It just makes people uncomfortable at times. But I don't like unnecessary neck meat being out. And so I saw you doing that, and I was like, hell yes, Travis does that. I can do that. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Are you a top button guy, and what's the thought process?
I'm absolutely not a top button guy, and if you ever saw me with that, it must have been a mistake because I have no idea why anyone would button their top button.
How would you make a mistake?
Like, I button my top button when I wear a tie, because that's what you're supposed to do.
I think he was
You're not wearing a
mocking you,
tie.
Ben.
It's just, I don't.
He may have been mocking
while
me.
you were saying this, I thought you were doing a bit because I don't ever remember doing it.
Yes. You're.
When?
I even talked to you about it.
Okay, just for everyone's reference here, this must clearly be a bit because I would never do that.
Really?
It's Ben's
Ever?
style, and no, it's your style,
Okay.
and I would never want to infringe on that. I
I'd
don't
like to
remember ever
revisit
wearing
this.
it. I don't ever remember this. Now, I will say I have a pretty large neck, and when I was playing, it was even larger because you're supposed to train it. That helps you prevent from concussions, all these things. Yeah. So my second button may have appeared to be a top button.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't think that's a possibility. No one's second button appears to be a first button.
Listen,
That
we haven't spent
doesn't
enough
happen.
time together if you don't think that's true. So put your hands around my neck once or twice. You'll know.
What is the Travis Frederick workout these days? How frequently and what are you doing?
Well, admittedly, it's changed recently. I've started to help out with a local high school football team. I moved back to my hometown, and so I have a really soft spot for this high school. And last year there was a little bit of some trouble. The head coach left late, and they couldn't find a new head coach. And so my brother had volunteered to help out and be like an interim head coach. And when he did that, he said, "Travis, you have to come help me. Please help." I was like, "Listen, I'll come. Like, I'll help you put together an offense. Like, consider me a consultant. Don't call me coach. I can't promise that I'll be there every day. Like, I can't even promise I'll be at any games, you know." And gosh, once you start getting around a team, it's really hard to not give it your all and not give it to them because they just like they're so influenceable and they're just looking for help. And so I have been spending more time with the football team. And so with that, I've been going in the mornings and working out with these kids. And so I go in there and I just, whatever the strongest guy on the team is doing, I just put a little bit more on to make him feel bad and feel like he's got something to work towards. And then I do that. So
Get on my level.
admittedly, my workouts have varied a little bit, but recently I've started like squatting and benching again. And my body's pretty mad about it.
Okay.
It's pretty mad.
Man,
I don't think I can play anymore.
I threw my back out bending over to pick up a napkin, and I tore my meniscus walking my dog. So I think I'm in peak physical condition.
Sounds great to me. Sounds great.
All right, I want to ask you about something. We sometimes we would have we'd ask people who had never seen Star Wars to explain the movie, right?
Yep.
And so I know you're a busy man. You're very successful, and I don't think you're following Dallas sports too closely, although you have social media and so you see what you see. But I don't know the level of which you're a Maverick fan, but I would like for you, uninterrupted, to explain to us what happened with the Mavericks and Luka.
Yeah, it's a terrible question. In fact, it wasn't a question; it was a statement. So I hate that to start. But from what I understand, what has happened here is someone. So Mr. Cuban has sold the team. He moved on from that, and while he was told that he'd be in charge, allowed to still be in charge. Turns out he wasn't, and some other people to not be named. I don't really know who they are because they weren't there when I was there. But some people decided it would be a good idea to try for the whole like Herschel Walker trade, where you trade like this big time player and go do something awesome. And turns out that you probably shouldn't trade away the heart of the city if you care very deeply about your fan base and all of that. And so I think there's been a lot of sentiment loss, a lot of poor sentiment towards the Mavericks organization, and I can't imagine being somebody who's in and around that at the moment, trying to defend the organization. Because here's what I know about Luka and Durk, frankly, is the way that they came in and became part of the team was one thing, but they became part of the city and frankly, are the city. I mean, Dirk's got a statue, he's got, roads named after him, and Luka was certainly on path to do that. And now I have heard that there are some people that say Luka is different, and there are negative qualities about Luka that perhaps Dirk didn't have, but no offense to my guy Durk, but there probably were negative things about him too. People said I was slow and couldn't move, but you always have your things, but you're also really good at other things, and that's what makes it up. And probably one of the things that they were doing most was like being part of the community and being sort of the mainstay for that. I can't imagine, like, in football you have 12 guys, or you have 11 guys on the field, on a side. You got 22, and then you get special teams. So like there's a lot of people, but in basketball there's 5, and so like one person is really really important, and Luka was really important, and so yeah, it sounds like we don't know who that person is anymore, and Luka is pretty upset about having been moved away, but. As on all things in sports, it's business, and I'm sure Luka will continue to go be successful in LA, and he'll have a long, prosperous career there and be a Hall of Famer and all of that. It just, unfortunately, isn't going to be in Dallas.
God, you okay, KT? He drank the entire time you were talking.
I know, that's why I noticed it, so I just kept talking. But then I realized that he may pass out if I continue.
Is the last time you went to a Maverick game the one that Tony Romo was in?
I think it was. I think that. Or it could have been. You know what? It was Dirk's last game.
Okay.
It was. I think it was Dirk's last game.
That was a good one to go to.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
You've developed a really cool friendship with Durk. How has that come about, and how often are you guys able to stay in touch?
Yeah. I found out that Durk also enjoys drinking wine, which I like drinking wine. So it turns out we belong to the same wine club. And so we spent some time together there, and we've been connected through that. Luka also belongs to that wine club. And so it's sort of like this, brotherhood that comes along with that. But, spent time together through you guys, whether it's at the I guess I never come to the tennis one, but the baseball deal. Mm-hmm. And, it's been fun getting to know him. He's really awesome. His wife is amazing as well, and they're really fun people to talk to, and you can also talk about anything with them. Super knowledgeable, really smart. His wife is brilliant, and so it's just fun to talk with them.
They are worldly people for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got, it's a unique thing to be a professional athlete, but like. You guys don't have to talk about that. There's way more things that you're interested in outside of sports that you could talk
Absolutely.
about. The whole, as you were talking about the Luka situation, a lot of people lean in on this idea that, like, man, Durk, really took care of his body and did all this, but Durk started doing that when he was 27. Mm-hmm. I mean, Luka's just turned 26. And so he's not even at the age yet where, at one point Durk said, okay, I'm going to stop any refined sugar out. Right.
Yeah.
He didn't do that till he was 27. It's not like he was a 20-year-old guy going, yeah, I'm going to do this with very few guys. I mean, I think Kobe's probably one of them, but I don't think Kobe wanted to party at all.
Right.
And in hindsight, Kobe's teammates didn't really seem to like him too much. I mean, he was so. That's a unique creature. That's one of. I mean, those people don't exist.
Correct.
And so to hold, I don't know, guys that are 25, 26-year-old international superstars that are multimillionaires to think that they're not going to enjoy their social life, I don't think that's very realistic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there are bounds and limits, and you got to be safe and careful. And it's easy to get yourself in a bad situation. But like, as far as I know, that was never a case with Luka. I don't know Luka nearly as well as I know Durk, but that's not something that I ever saw in the news or any of that stuff. So I wouldn't expect that. And there's something to be said about being young. And people may argue that I'm still young, or I was young when I retired, but those first few years, you could do whatever you wanted. You'd see all the old guys, hot and cold tubs and ice and all that stuff. You're like, golly, those guys look old. And it turns out you turn into that person. But at the beginning, you weren't that person. Like, I wasn't doing that, early in my career either. And I don't know how wear and tear works in basketball versus football. I'm not going to even try and guess what that looks like. But by the time I got into year 3, 4, 5. That's when I was like, okay, I need to start doing something to take care of myself a little bit better. And so, I don't blame him for not doing those things. If you don't need it, you don't need it, you know. And
Right.
yeah, I'm with you on this one. I think that it's hard to say that he wasn't being successful. He wasn't doing things to help the franchise move forward. All of those, like, that's really, to me, like, your judgment should be on your output, and also your effect on the team. If you're, you know, if you can't be part of the team and be a positive influence on the team, like, that's obviously a big red flag for me. But also, if you can go out, ball out every night, and be fine, like, go do that. Go win us a championship. Like, that's where I'm at.
Travis, have you seen The World?
That's a great question.
Well, if you're asking me if I did the whole, you know, Blue Origin space shuttle thing, that's not me. I have not done that. No. I have
Are you
traveled
interested in that?
some. No, no. I did tell my wife I wanted to go to Mars, and she told me that she would divorce me if I did so. And I asked her, like, what's the deal with that? Like, I thought this was till death do us part, you know, and then she decided that if I went to Mars, I wouldn't be back in time. So I guess that's fair. But
And-
you know, I'd be interested in Mars.
In the future, that'll be a wedding vow. Till Mars do us part.
I like
Right.
that a lot.
Okay, so you've taught us a lot about food insecurities in DFW through working with your charity. You mentioned Durk's charities. Blocking Hunger Foundation has been amazing. Got an event coming up in DFW this coming week. We'll be there. Super proud to be there. Happy to be involved. And I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about that, because I think it's really cool that you don't even live in DFW anymore, yet you still care. You're fighting to help hungry kids in DFW. So I want to give you a second to talk about the Blocking Hunger Foundation.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The Blocking Hunger Foundation was something that I started, I think, 7 years ago now. It's been longer than I expected it to last. But I when I was a rookie, I came into Dallas knowing that I wanted to do something good. I wanted to use my platform for good, and I didn't know exactly what that was. And I had gotten involved in some organizations and ended up doing some, you know, food giving downtown, and we were handing out lunch or something like that. And I saw kids coming through this line, and I was completely heartbroken to see the joy in their eye, but not because they got to see me, but because they were getting a cheeseburger for lunch. And you know, to know that they were really hungry. And so I knew that's what I needed to do. And the other part of that is, you know, when you're a rookie, you get conned into going to all of the events that the older guys don't want to go to. But the great part of that is that, you know, I got to see the extreme generosity of the DFW Metroplex. And so I saw this huge need and this amazing generosity, and said, I need to figure out a way to be a conduit between the generosity and the need. And so that's when the Blocking Hunger Foundation was created. And our goal is just to help families and children that are struggling with hunger throughout the DFW Metroplex. And so we have two programs that we operate. One is called Nourish to Flourish, and the other is called Travis's Pantries. And so Nourish to Flourish, we provide boxes and backpacks of food when kids are out of school. So that's all of the breaks, summer, spring, Thanksgiving, all of those breaks. And that just allows kids to continue to eat, because the USDA has great programs in school where kids can go get breakfast, they can get lunch, and they can get some meals. But when kids are out of school, there's no distribution network anymore. We try to provide that for those kids. And then the other one is Travis's Pantries, where we have pantries that we go put into schools so that on Friday, families can take food home to help them get through the weekend. And so, the kids are way more productive on Monday and Tuesday coming back, not hungry and looking for food. But sometimes we can ease the financial hardship enough that kids can get a meal at home during the week as well, after school. And that can be really powerful for these kids. And really the goal is, we want to help these kids have an opportunity to be the greatest that they can be. You know, the kids are the future of our, you know, of our country, you know, of our world, and it's important for them to have opportunity. And so those are the programs we do. And so we've gone down. We're just doing a single event per year. We do a fundraiser. It's at Topgolf in the Colony next Tuesday, and you can find out more at blockinghunger.org. But we go out, we play Topgolf, we drink some beers and whatnot. We have some food, and it's just a great opportunity to show our support for those kids and raise some money and be able to fund those programs.
That's really cool, man. It's a great event. Now, is it one of those deals? And I want to make sure. Did you say blockinghunger.com or blockhunger?
Blockinghunger.org.
.org. Sorry, blockinghunger.org. People watching, can they still sign up to be involved, or is it closed as of now?
I believe that they can. You can reach out. There are single tickets available, and perhaps even sponsorships available if you have a company that's interested in doing that. You can reach out. There's an email address on there that you can reach out and talk to our wonderful manager, Katie, and she'll hook you up.
Awesome. And you can obviously go make donations at blockinghunger.org if you just want to make a donation to help local kids who are hungry. Okay, so you're coming to town. You're going to be at Sumo at Rollertown in Salina on Saturday. What time?
Sir.
What time are you thinking you'll arrive?
It's a great question. Depends on how the whole airport thing goes. Things have been a little sketchy lately, so you never know what's going to happen. But if I make it there and make it in one piece, it should be perhaps late afternoon. I don't think I'm going to make it for the entirety of the sumo competition, but I'm hoping to be there before the end and certainly before the celebration.
It's a blast. I actually have something I have to do earlier in the day, so I will not make it there till the end as well. But I am going to be there because it is the most fun thing we do. We do a lot of fun stuff at Rollertown. We've kicked it with you many times at Rollertown, but man, it is hard to beat the sumo event. It is absolutely bonkers. It's so much fun.
I have heard such good things about it that I didn't want to miss it. I had to do what I could to make it work. It's going to be a tight turnaround from the draft in Green Bay, but I'm super excited for it.
When is the last time you saw the construction progress of the Frisco Rollertown location?
Well, I'll be honest with you, and when I say you, I mean the people that are listening. Ben sends me pictures almost every day of the updates, so I see the updates often. There's a roof on the building now, which I'm super excited about. To be fair, I'm also very interested in it. I ask him for updates and things like that, but yes, I see it quite often, and I'm really excited about it. It couldn't be like a more prime location. Really excited about being around things there. And having the ability to just brew more beer, perhaps different varieties of beer. Pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited.
We have a really good listener. He's actually also he's a friend. I mean, I say listener. John Lindstrom said, and I think this is in the spirit of a lot of the things we used to do with you, Travis. I think Travis should ask each of the guys a question. So, are you willing to put each one of us on the spot?
Yes, I can do this. All right, I'm going to start with Ben. Ben, who is your favorite Dallas Cowboys? Who is the best Dallas Cowboys quarterback to play in the last 10 years and why?
I would say, I'm thinking back of the math here of how long it's been. I would say it's Tony Romo is the best Cowboys quarterback. Because how many years has Dak been here starting now?
Dak, this will be 2025
9.
season. He was here in 16, so this is year 9.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Romo.
So his last 2 years were that good.
Jesus, is this Dak's 10th year?
He played in the 16 seasons, so
16,
17,
18, 19, 20,
1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 9.
So
It's 25.
people feel like in this day and age that they have to be combative, that to say one thing is good is to simultaneously say that another thing is bad. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the Cowboys chased a dream. The idea was, man, you can really be good in this league if you have a young quarterback who plays on a rookie contract, and then you can fill out talent around that quarterback. And they were so excited about that possibility that I felt like they ran Romo off too soon. And I thought they should have stuck it out, given him a shot a little bit longer. Although Dak was great his rookie season and has had a phenomenal career, and I still like him very much as a quarterback, I would have liked to have seen Romo still hold on to that job once he was healthy and then have both those guys and then see how that plays out. Because I think especially in the postseason, it would have helped to have had his veteran leadership.
Well, let me pull up the numbers here and let's just kind of get these guys compared head to head, because that's the only way that we can ever learn things here is by putting two people against each other.
Can I add context? Can I add context right quick? I'd like to
I
add
love
context.
Please.
The irony of this, if we are to believe what we are told, is that Zekel was drafted for Tony,
Yeah.
and Tony never got to play with Zekel.
Wow, these numbers are amazing.
And by the way,
that's a really nice piece of context there. I never thought about it that way, but it's absolutely true.
I was going to, if I put you on the spot with a tough question, I was going to try to ask you that
It's
exact
not
same.
your turn to ask questions. It's my turn.
Give me the ball
I'm the
back,
captain
Travis.
now.
It's a good one.
Real quick, I would like to add that Tony has a 65% completion percentage. Dak has a 66% completion percentage.
Better quarterback.
But
1
Dak's
percentage
interception
point.
rate is lower, but Tony's touchdown percentage is higher. So it's really hard to tell. Dak takes a few more sacks than Tony. This is a tough one, and I think that is what's driving Dak this year, and I can't wait to see how the Cowboys take back the NFC to what's rightfully theirs.
I think that's what I'll go with at the draft.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how will you say it?
Well, I don't know yet. Next question.
Yeah.
Tim, to you.
Yes.
You know my personality, and quite frankly, you know my body better than most people.
Yeah.
If I was a freshly brewed beer, how would you describe my flavor?
Okay.
Wow.
I think that you would be like a bold Czech Pils. I think you would be a full-bodied Pils. I think a lot of people expect that I'm going to say that, you're maybe like a stout or something. But I really lean into your Midwestern sensibilities, which immediately makes me think more lager or Pils. In general, a Pils, if they're brewed in the European way, will have a little more bite on them or maybe a little bit more hop forward. Therefore, they're bolder, bigger bodied beers for that style of beer. And I think that your personality is such that you're a crushable beer type, so it's not stouts. It's not going to be like an IPA or something like that. It's going to be like a traditional style, crushable lager or Pilsner. I just think you lean more towards a big-bodied, hop-forward Pils that you can crush, but also has some body to it. Because, contrary to what a lot of people might think about the offensive lineman that is Travis Frederick, he's very fleet of foot. He's very nimble. He's like a dancing bear out there, and so he can move. He's got the juice. He's more elusive than you might think. But when he needs to put that body on you, he will straight steamroll you. So I think you're a big-bodied Pils.
Thank you. That is a wonderful answer. I appreciate that very deeply.
You're welcome.
I can't say that I disagree with you. It's wonderful. I love that description. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Well, last but certainly not least, Kevin. Since you're, my generation, and we're out here working with fun things like technology, I'm curious what if you had to give someone our age advice about how to apply artificial intelligence in their daily life, how would you do so?
It's a great question, and look, you and I are very technology savvy, and I think that's really great.
Yeah. Classic
It doesn't get
KT.
much better than that.
No. He's the best.
Oh my God. So good.
Do you think
So-
he'll come back or
No,
No.
he's gone.
Well, listen, I really enjoyed spending time with him today. I did
This
miss
is great.
Christina, though.
I want to
Yeah.
do this at least 3 or 4 times a day.
I think that would be tough based on your schedule. I
Yeah.
know
Right.
more that you're a very busy person.
Feels that way.
Ben's pretty open.
Pretty wide open. Travis, we love you. Thank you for doing this. We're excited that we get to see you on Saturday at Roller Town. We're excited that you're going to be a part of the NFL draft. Make some good picks for the Cowboys, all right?
I will do my best. Do you have any problems if I say your name instead of the name of whoever it is that get drafted?
Have the Cowboys draft Ben. That would be amazing, dude. That'd be so great. Please do that.
How much trouble do you think I would get in if I did that?
I mean, what can they do to you? You're retired.
That's true.
Yeah.
They banned me from the NFL forever.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm sure they frown on it, but I'm sure they'd like the joke.
You'd never get allowed on that. What is it called? Eureka, Eugenia, or whatever the name of that yacht is that they have.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Hey, that thing was sweet.
You have
You
been
might
on
not-
it?
Really talk about it. I've been on it.
Remember they made him run off at one time. Like, wasn't there a
true.
big storm?
Did I tell you that story?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. It was at the Super Bowl in Miami. There's a
Everyone
huge
must
storm
get
coming,
off the
so
yacht.
Get out. Yep.
Yeah.
So then we had to just run out into the storm.
Wow, dude, you've always been so kind to us. We're not worthy. We love you. Your greatness. Thank you for what you continue to do with the Blocking Hunger Foundation. Thank you for still caring about Dallas Fort Worth. We care about you here in this city too, and we'll do this as much as you are available. You know that. So we'll continue to chase you down and try to get more interviews with you. But we look forward to seeing you on Saturday at Roller Town.
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for having me tonight. I had a great time.
Love you, big boy.
See y'all.
Peace.
This has been another Iron Balls production.
Iron Balls.